Nairobi city never slept. Beneath its glittering skyline, the thousand struggles festered in silence. And among them, in a cramped university dorm room filled with worn textbooks and empty biscuit wrappers, lived Liza, a 22-year-old beautiful girl, razor-sharp, ambitious, and broke. While other students danced at clubs and flaunted Instagram filters, Liza counted coins for supper. Her days were full of lectures, but her nights were filled with silence and hunger. Her world was shrinking fast, and even her daily meals had become uncertain. Yet, she kept going. Because one day, she swore she would make her mother, Eunice, proud. Then came the phone call that cracked her world open. Her mother had collapsed in their rural home. The diagnosis was a rare heart condition that needed urgent surgery, one that would cost nearly 800,000 shillings. Liza stared at the hospital invoice in disbelief. That was money she didn't have, couldn't borrow, and no one in her family had either. Liza pleaded with banks, wrote begging emails to NGOs, called estranged relatives. The answers were the same, sympathy without action. Meanwhile, Eunice lay in a hospital bed, pale, weak, and drowning in medical bills. And with each passing day, her mother slipped further toward death. Back in her dorm room, in the thick of a humid night, Liza scrolled through her feed and stumbled across a bizarre story of an American girl who had auctioned off her virginity for her money. People in the comments had mocked her, but one thing stuck with Liza: she got the money. A bitter laugh escaped her lips. Could she? Liza laughed bitterly. Even hell has options, she whispered. The next day, while her roommate was out, Liza opened her laptop. Her fingers trembled as she created a private live stream account. She didn't show her face, just her voice, distorted by a filter, and a message: "I'm a 22-year-old Kenyan girl. I've never been touched. My mother is dying. This is not a joke. I am auctioning my virginity. The highest bidder gets it. One night. That's all." Her face was masked. Her voice filtered. The message was raw. Real. Within minutes, the live stream exploded. Anonymous viewers joined from all corners of the world. Some laughed. Some flattered. Some cursed her. Fake. Thirst trap. I'll pay 100k for just her socks. 500k from me. One condition: no condoms. But the bids? They rolled in fast. 200,000 Kenyan shillings. 400,000 Kenyan shillings. 700,000 Kenyan shillings. The filth in the comments made her sick. But one name stood out, it kept reappearing at the top: the real M. Each time someone bid, he outbid them, quietly, powerfully. No comments. Just bids. Within 3 nights, his offer soared past 1 million shillings. Liza shut the laptop. Her hands trembled. This was no longer theoretical. She wept. She prayed. She cursed herself. For days, Liza agonized. She tried to cancel the stream. But each time she visited her mother's bedside, heard her raspy breath, and watched the nurses ignoring her because the bill was unpaid, her heart was filled with pain. The next day, her mother had a seizure in the hospital. And Liza made her choice. She knew there was no other choice. She scheduled the final auction for a Friday night. That night, her live stream crossed 10,000 live viewers. The comments were savage, thirsty, amused. But Liza, masked and composed, read out the final bids. Final offer: 1.2 million shillings. Winner: the real M. She sent him a private message. He replied almost instantly with a location: an exclusive villa on the outskirts of her rural home, far from anyone she knew. Liza boarded a bus with a backpack, a power bank, and an ocean of fear inside her. As the bus rumbled through hills and tea plantations, her mind spiraled. Who was he? What would he do to her? Would it be over fast? The journey was long, filled with tears and doubt. She tried to imagine who this man was. Rich. Probably foreign. Probably inhuman. The villa was majestic, surrounded by silence. No neighbors. No lights nearby. Only the sound of crickets and her own heartbeat. A housekeeper opened the door. "He's waiting," she said with a strange look. Liza was led to a candlelit room filled with roses, soft jazz, and a single camera on a tripod. Then he walked in, tall, dark, well-dressed. But Liza's heart dropped. Her knees buckled. Her eyes widened in horror. It was Uncle Paul, her mother's ex-husband. The man who had once lived in their home. The man who disappeared after destroying her mother, Eunice, emotionally and financially. "Uncle," she choked. He smiled. "You've grown," he said with a smile. You did." Liza screamed, trembling. "I never stopped loving your mother," he whispered, walking toward her. "But tonight, I'll settle for you." "But why me?" He stared. "Because your mother was the only woman I ever loved. But she ruined me. And now, I take back what matters to her." Liza collapsed on the couch, gasping, trying to breathe. He sat across from her and placed a thick brown envelope on the table. 1.2 million. Cash. "But I want to film it." "No rules." She fled to the bathroom. Threw up. Then cried. Outside the bathroom, her phone buzzed. It was a voice note from her mother, weak and strained. "You're my reason to live, Liza. If I die, I want you to live for me. Promise me." Those words broke her. That night, Liza returned to the candlelit room, numb and distant. She didn't speak. She just nodded. And the camera began to roll. That night, Liza recorded the most horrifying experience of her life. The next morning, she returned to Nairobi. She paid the hospital. The doctors began the surgery. Her mother survived. But Liza did not. At least, not fully. The nightmares began. Loud knocks. Shadows. Replaying everything, Paul's grin, the camera flash, the shame. She drifted through days like a ghost. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't smile. Every notification on her phone made her flinch. Then one day, it came, a message from Uncle Paul. "Keep me happy, or the world sees the video." He had recorded everything. Every moment. Every sound. Every tear. Liza panicked. She confided in Kina, her only true friend. Kina connected her with a tech-savvy student who tried to hack Paul's cloud drive and delete the video. For a while, it worked. But Paul wasn't just cruel, he was connected. He leaked screenshots to a local blog. A university girl sells virginity to stepfather for 1.2 million. Her world crumbled. Her classmates whispered behind her back. Lecturers gave her strange looks. Even neighbors in her rural home avoided greeting them. Then came the worst blow. Her mother confronted her. "Tell me it's not true," Mama begged, eyes filled with tears. Liza said nothing. Just cried. And of all men, him. Liza ran. She disappeared for 3 days. Wandered the streets. Sat by the river at night, staring at the water, wondering if silence would be better than shame. She stood at the edge of a bridge, listening to the river's call. But she didn't jump. Instead, she wrote a letter. Not to her mother, but to herself. "If I must be remembered for this night, let it be the night I was reborn." Another letter brought her back. A handwritten note from her mother, left by her hospital bed. "You were never my shame." He was. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you." Liza returned, but not to hide. This time, she plotted. With hidden mics and a camera, she arranged to meet Paul at a coffee shop. She played innocent. Let him speak. Let him threaten. Let him dig his grave. She uploaded the footage anonymously. The internet exploded. Twitter hashtags. TV headlines. Radio debates. Women rallied. NGOs called for justice. Paul's business empire collapsed overnight. But the price was steep. Authorities arrested Liza for distributing explicit material. She stood in court as reporters snapped photos. But behind her, dozens of women stood in solidarity. The judge gave her a suspended sentence. She walked out free. For the first time in a long time, she exhaled. But her wounds weren't finished bleeding. That night, Liza received a new email from an anonymous banner account. A different video. Not the one she knew. But a second angle, more raw. More invasive. She had no idea Paul had more than one camera. And someone else had a copy. He was never alone. Someone else watched. Watched everything. The email simply read, "She wasn't the only girl. He's done this before." Liza's world cracked again. She tracked the IP. Reached out to hackers. Traced dark web threads. Found rumors of a private ring of powerful men who bought videos of girls, some underage, sold by their own relatives. Paul had been a small fish. But now Liza saw the whole ocean. She met two other girls, survivors. One was just 15 when her uncle sold her. They were too scared to speak. But Liza wasn't. She began a podcast, and each week her new voice spoke. Each week her new truth was revealed. Her following exploded. Her enemies multiplied. One night she returned home to find her room ransacked. Her laptop smashed. A note on the wall written in lipstick, "Silence is safety." But she didn't stop. Instead, she got louder. She confronted more men. Exposed more secrets. Even a sitting MP was linked to the tapes. The case shook Parliament. Riots broke out. One night, her mother was attacked outside a chemist. 3 men beat her and left her bleeding with a warning, "Tell your daughter to shut up." Liza almost quit. But Eunice, bandaged and barely able to speak, told her, "If I must die, let it be for something that saves others." So Liza continued. She no longer feared death. Because she had already died once, on camera. What came after was war. Months later, Liza walked through the hospital halls, not as a patient's daughter, not as a scandal, but as a qualified nurse. Her name badge gleamed. Her mother waited at the entrance, leaning on a cane, eyes glowing with pride. They hugged. The past would never vanish. The pain would never disappear. But they had survived it. And together, they had turned shame into a weapon. And now, they used it to save others.